Do you know what I'd like? What I'd really love? A story. I would, you know. Now, who was it? But, of course, Dandelion, the best storyteller in the world. That was it, wasn't it? Would you, please?
A story? Now?
Why not? Everybody, what do you think? One of our guests is going to tell us a story. We are ready when you are, Dandelion.
Yes. Well, Then I think I'll tell you the one about the king's lettuce.
Lovely. That's new to us.
Well, I'm sure you've all heard of El-ahrairah, the rascal rabbit who's the hero of all rabbits because of his trickery. But there was a time when he went too far with his tricks. The other animals grew weary of him and his tricks. They decided they'd had enough. So they drove this hero of ours and his followers away into one of the dreariest spots in the entire world, into the swamps of Kelfersen, in fact. Now, there wasn't much to eat in Kelfersen. The grass was coarse and bitter, and when they tried to dig burrows, the water poured in as fast as they could dig the holes. It was, in fact, a most miserable place, and they hated it.
Well, then, why didn't they clear out? Go somewhere else?
Perhaps those other animals wouldn't let them. Oh, it was Prince Rainbow who wouldn't let them.
Prince who?
Prince Rainbow. You see, the Lord Frith had put him in charge of the entire sky, of all the hills and meadows. Here, you run the world, said Frith. Me, I've had enough.
Lord Frith said that?
Yes. Maybe it was one of his bad days, you know. But at any rate, Prince Rainbow was in charge at this time.
Dandelion's story would have been familiar to most rabbits, and Hazel's group were more than a little surprised that Cowslip had not heard it. But even though they knew it well, they were happy to hear yet again the story of El-ahrairah's resourcefulness and how he fooled the humorless Prince Rainbow. They were sure the other rabbits would enjoy it even more, hearing it for the first time, and settled down to listen expectantly. It was a tale of great trickery, with a strong appeal for that reason, which began when El-ahrairah stopped the prince as he was patrolling the marshes to make sure the rabbits were still in their proper place.
Good morning, Your Highness.
Good morning, El-ahrairah. And what can I do for you?
We don't like it here.
To be perfectly honest, I don't see how anybody could.
So, isn't there something I can do to get us out of Kelfersen? Couldn't you perhaps put me to some kind of test? Say, swimming through a lake full of pike?
A lake full of pike? By no means. I know how you do that. You can't fool me that easily.
You're smarter than I thought, Prince. I'll have to think of something really difficult. Let's see. I know. I'll steal the lettuce from King Darzen's garden.
King Darzen's lettuce? You'll be killed by his guards first.
But if I succeed?
If you should do it, I'll let you and your kind out of the marshes to multiply throughout the world, and no garden will be safe from you. But I can't see you outsmarting King Darzen.
The prince's warning was justified, because this king ruled over the biggest and richest of all the animal cities on earth. His soldiers were famous for their fierceness. There was a deep ditch right around his garden, and it was guarded day and night by 1,000 sentries. El-ahrairah's first thought was to pose as one of the gardeners, and he and his second-in-command, Rabscuttle, went to the king's garden to see how they could get past the guard. But they saw everyone who worked in the lettuce patch being carefully checked over, and anyone the least bit suspect was thrown out very roughly. They gave that plan away, and were coming back to the marshes when they met Prince Rainbow.
Well, leader of the rabbits. Where are the lettuce you promised to steal?
Your Highness, there were so many that it would be impossible for my people to carry them. I'm having them delivered here to the marshes of Kelfersen instead.
Having made that boast, Ellery Ra went into a planning session with Rabscuttle that lasted through a day and a night. At the end of that time, he sent Rabscuttle to the field, where all the children who lived in King Darzin's palace came out to play every day. As Rabscuttle was very clever at games and tricks, the children made a great fuss over him. And because he was the same size as the children, none of the guards or nursemaids paid him any attention. At the end of the day, therefore, it was easy for Rabscuttle to join up with King Darzin's son as they all went back into the palace. Once inside, he found his way to the storeroom, where he did his best to spoil the lettuce and make it unfit to eat. That same night, King Darzin summoned the chief taster.
Those lettuces you've been growing so carefully, shouldn't they be just about ready?
Indeed they are, sire. Some are excellent and have already been brought into the store.
Good. We'll have 2 this evening.
And the lettuces were served, looking fresh and delicious. But of course, those who had eaten them soon became sick, and the more they ate, the sicker they got. Not long after that, Ellery Ra appeared at the palace gates disguised, so that no one, not even his own wives, could recognize him.
Guards, take me to the king. Prince Rainbow has heard he is ill and has sent me to find the cause of his sickness.
I'm sorry, sir. Orders are to admit nobody.
Oh, I see. Well, in that case, I won't bother. After all, it's a matter of no great concern to the chief physician of the land beyond the golden river of Frith. Whether a mortal king is sick or not, I'll just tell Prince Rainbow that I came here but could not gain admittance.
And Ellery Ra looked so important and imposing that the guard decided he had better take him to King Darzin himself. The leader of the rabbits was received enthusiastically by the king, who was now feeling quite uncomfortable and ready to welcome anyone who might be able to help him. Ellery Ra played up to his disguise. He examined the king's teeth, his claws, got him to poke out the royal tongue, and then, suddenly, he caught sight of the lettuces.
Now, what have we here? What do we have here? Your Majesty, how many of these dangerous things do you have?
Why, the storeroom is full of them, I believe. What's wrong with them?
Oh, it's the deadly louse pedoodle, I'm afraid. These lettuces have been infected by the louse pedoodle virus, which flies in ever-decreasing circles through the gunpat of the clutch, you know.
Gunpat of the clutch? It's as bad as that?
Oh, I'm afraid so. Oh, you must get rid of them at once.
Oh, I shall. And what about the others? Those out in the garden?
They will have to go, naturally. Get rid of them. Have your guards drag those terrible lettuces out of the earth. They must be taken away, far away, right out of your kingdom, if you want you and your loved ones to be safe.
Oh, how far? Where do you suggest would be a safe place? Really safe?
Oh, I don't know. I think the marshes of Kelfazon would be far enough, don't you?
As Dandelion ended his story, he could see for once it had not been a success. In fact, it was an embarrassing failure. Hazel glanced at Cowslip and then at the others. Cowslip had a strained smile on his face. The rest of his warren looked even more miserable. The tense atmosphere was everywhere now. It took Fiver to break the awful silence.
Those roots up there, up in the ceiling, are the roots of yew trees.
Are they?
Oh, yew trees. How very interesting.
An old doe rabbit told me once that yew trees are what the men plant in their graveyards. So, those white things, all mixed up with the roots, they'd have to be bones, wouldn't they? The bones of dead men.
Another graveyard?
Men die, Pipkin, just as we do. All over the place.
And what kills them?
They get sick, become old.
Haven't you left out the best parts? Quite frequently, so I understand, they kill each other. Now, what do you think of that? Each other.
Truly? And why would they do a thing like that?
Oh, I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's what I heard. But it's interesting that about the bones. You know, I'd never noticed them before. They look rather pretty up there, don't they? So shiny. Gleaming away like stars.
Sooner or later, all parties, even bad ones, come to an end. One of Cowslip's rabbits, his name he told them was Strawberry, led them to an empty burrow.
Thank you, Strawberry. But where are our friends?
Somewhere, not too far away, I expect. Don't worry, they'll be quite safe.
I should hope so.
Oh, nothing can go wrong. Not down below. Tell me something. Why did you come here?
Why, we're going to start a new warren. We're looking for a suitable place.
We ran away from our old warren. Fiver had a dreadful vision, you see. He can look into the future, can't you, Fiver?
Can you really? Can you see into the future? Do you know about this place?
What about this place? My visions, they only happen sometimes.
Strawberry, what is there about this warren?
Nothing. Nothing, really. So you won't be staying on with us, then?
No, Strawberry. We'll not be staying on.
Good. Yeah, I think you're wise. I'm sure you are. But that captain of yours, the one with the big funny topknot.
Captain Bigwig.
He says he's going to stay. He's a bit stubborn, that one, isn't he? Likes having his own way with things.
Yes, he does. We shall be moving on, however.
We're looking for something called a down.
A down? A down? There's a watership down I heard of once. Some rabbit passing through here told us about it.
Watership down?
I've never seen it, mind you. Long way from here, but... Yes, you'd be happier there, I know you would.
Watership down. That's it. I'm sure it is. Watership down.
Well, I'd better be going then. Sleep soundly, all of you. Well, good night.
One moment. What is it you're afraid of?
Tomorrow, don't go wandering around too much. Not too much. And especially down by the stream. That's all. No, I must go. I'm sorry, but I have to.
Sleep soundly? He did say that, didn't he?
The sooner we leave this warren, the better.
But why the stream?
The stream? Who knows? But there has to be something there.
Hazel, good morning. You slept well, I trust? I was just thinking what a splendid view we have from here. Don't you agree? Our ancestors chose well, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would. Cowslip, where are...
From here you can see straight across the valley and...
Cowslip, where are the rest of our rabbits?
Bigwig, your dashing captain, and his cronies, they went exploring. I rather think they went on there, towards the stream.
The stream? Hazel and Dandelion, without another word to Cowslip, bounded down the hill. After them scampered Fiver and Pipkin. Cowslip watched them go and sighed. But then one has to protect oneself as best one can. And perhaps these new rabbits would accept the situation just as they had. It wasn't such a bad life, actually. It was at least an easy life. On the edge of the stream, Hazel found a heap of vegetables. Wrinkled carrots, turnips, several faded cabbages.
Somebody, some farmer, some man must have dumped these here.
Oh, no wonder my story was a flop. These rabbits get their food delivered too.
And there has to be a reason. Bigwig? Silver?
Where is everybody? This way. It came from the... It's over here. Oh, Frith, help us. It's Bigwig. Bigwig.
Well, lie still.
It's a snare.
Oh, don't move or you'll choke yourself. Look for the peg. There's always a peg at the end of the wire. Oh, find it, will you?
I got it. It's here. But I can't move it. It's driven too deep in the ground. I can't, Hazel. Can't.
Then bite it. Bite it in halves. Pipkin, you're the smallest. See if you can start it off. The others, stand by to help. And hurry, please, hurry. You'll be all right, Bigwig. Steady now. You'll be all right, I promise you. Don't move, that's all. Let's see how you're going, Pipkin. That's good work. The bigger rabbits can take over now.
The other rabbits came out of the bushes one by one. They sat in silence, watching 3 of their number biting into a wooden peg. Saw Hazel from time to time lick the blood from the captain's mouth. Those who had scavenged a carrot or a turnip forgot their treasures. Fascinated, they stared. And they stared for a long, long time. Until...
It's through, Hazel. He's free.
It lay on the grass, a thin copper wire with a loop, a noose at one end, gleaming in the sunlight. And it looked so harmless, almost pretty, like those bones.
Bigwig.
I'll be all right. Get the wind back, that's all. What happened? That cow slip. Didn't he know? Know what
He knew well enough. Believe me.
It was a trap, Bigwig. An arrangement.
He told us to come down here. He pointed the way.
He did, you know. Breakfast, he said. Then try the stream. Lovely, he said.
Captain, listen to me. There's a farmer somewhere who enjoys a nice fresh rabbit every once in a while. Some rabbit that hasn't been infected with the plague. So what does he do? He feeds them.
He has his own private warren. It has to be that.
You mean this farmer brings their food to their door?
Oh, Silver, what else can it be? After all, it is, I suppose, the easy life. In a horrible way.
Easy? For as long as you live, that is. Could you call that easy? Well, could you?
It'd be a whole lot easier if on occasion you offered him some other victims.
And we would have been those other victims?
Better any one of us than one of his own.
I'll kill that cowslip. I'll kill that filthy, treacherous, forsaken son of a... And as for you, you rotten crows, not this time, you hear me? Not getting me this time, so buzz off. Someday, maybe, but right now...
Right now, Captain Bigwig, you better let us take a look at that neck of yours. Incidentally, Captain, I think it's about time our Hazel made an announcement.
What do you mean, announcement?
Yes, Dandelion, what do you mean?
Do we or don't we need a Ra? Now, if you hold still, Captain, I'll do the necessary licking. Now, isn't it about time we elected ourselves a leader, Hazel?
Should have done it ages ago, I reckon.
If we'd listened to Hazel, we wouldn't have gone anywhere near that warren back there.
That's right.
We must have a Ra. And we all agreed that... Where are the others? Don't tell me.
Wandered back to the turnips, I'd say. All of them.
There are times when rabbits make me sick.
Me too. I could vomit right now.
But please don't hope it. Well, Captain Bigwig, what do you say?
Me? Well,
Is it to be Hazel Ra?
Well, a bit young, isn't he?
Well, is there something wrong with being young? We like him. We trust him.
If I were the Ra, Captain, you'd have to back me up. I couldn't manage without you.
Well, I can fight. I can do that, can't I?
You're the best we have.
Yeah, but it all seems a bit peculiar. I mean, an old rabbit like me, one that used to have a commission in the guards back home.
When I was nothing but an outskirter. But everything's changed a lot since then.
Well, Bigwig?
They've got a prisoner.
Our rabbits have caught
One of their rabbits.
It's Strawberry.
Oh, bring him here! The rotten, dirty bag of fleas! Bring him to me!
All I wanted... Hazel, please take me with you, please.
One of them, and I'll kill him. Leave that rabbit to me. Hazel, get out of the way. No, get back. But Hazel...
Say Hazel Ra.
Hazel Ra. We'll do this my way.
Since the night they fled from Sandalford, Hazel and his small band of rabbits have found the world to be much bigger than they'd expected, and to be unfriendly, hostile, in fact. All rabbits, from the days when they're kittens, are taught to anticipate danger. The enemy, any one of the 1,000 enemies, could be behind the next bush, the nearest tree. They live their lives knowing this. Now, however, they have discovered that there could be other enemies as well. These are the unexpected ones.
Our own kind, Strawberry. We were betrayed by rabbits. By your rabbits.
I know, but I tried to warn you, Hazel. I did last night, down in the burrow. Remember, I told you to keep away from this stream.
Yes, Strawberry, I do remember.
When Cowslip just now told me he'd sent you down here, well, you can see I ran down straight away.
You're a bit late, aren't you? You see that snare? You see where the wire cut into my neck? And now he says he wants to come with us.
All right, Bigwig, that's enough. Why are you leaving your warren, Strawberry?
Because I'm ashamed. The easy life, Cowslip called it. Easy? When all the time those snares, hidden in the grass like one of the 1,000, all the time the snares were waiting and no one knew when it was going to be his turn. Oh, Hazel, I must get away from here. I must. Please take me with you.
He's Hazel Ra now.
Hazel Ra, won't you trust me? Please.
All right. All right, Strawberry, you can be one of us. Hear that, everybody?
It was on the evening of the following day that they came to an escarpment, a steep slope rich with grass, sweeping up to a ridge among the sunset clouds. Tinged with red, those clouds were massive, and they rolled in silence across the land, the high, lonely land. Fiver wanted to shout. He wanted to cry. He didn't know what he wanted. This was it. Here was his dream. Never before had he seen anything so beautiful. Never before had he felt such peace. Yes, that was it. Peace. Here you could be safe.
We're here. This is Watership Down. Hazel, Pip can tell them. Everybody, we've come to Watership Down.
Well, we have. This is it.
The place you dreamed of.
It's here. It's here. Everything is here, just as I saw it.
They camped for that night at the foot of the slope, ate well, dug scrapes for themselves, and settled down. Sleep didn't come easily that night. There was too much to talk about, too many plans to be made. But in the end, even Fiver gave in to his weariness. It had been a long, exhausting struggle ever since they'd left the Warren of the Snares. And last night, he shuddered when he thought of last night. They'd tried to rest in some deserted barn and had been driven out by rats. But now, all of that was over. The journey from Sandalford was ended. They had found what they'd been searching for. Fiver yawned, stretched his legs, yawned again, and Fiver also slept.
Bigwig! Captain Bigwig! Where are you? Bigwig!
What's that?
Captain Bigwig!
Holy frick. Hazel, wake up. I know. I heard it.
So did I. Somebody's out there in the dark. Perhaps it's
The Black Rabbit.
If it is, seems to be me he's come home.
Nonsense, Bigwig. You're going to live forever.
No, when your time's up, it's up. The Black Rabbit comes for you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Are you there, Bigwig?
I think it is the Black Rabbit of Inlay.
Pipkin, if Captain Bigwig's time was up, wouldn't it have happened 2 days ago when he was choking in that snare?
But who around here knows me?
We'd better take a look, hadn't we? All of our rabbits are here. You can see that for yourself. Come on. Let's find out what it really is. We won't wake the others. We can yell if we need them.
Can I come too? I've never seen the Black Rabbit.
Then keep behind me. Well behind, right? And I told you, you're not going to see the Black Rabbit. Whoever it is, it won't be the Black Rabbit.
Oh, I hope you're right, Hazel. With lovers, I do hope you're right.
They found nothing so frightening as the legendary dreaded Black Rabbit. They found instead 2 rabbits like themselves. One lay under a hedge, wounded. The other hobbled a few steps towards as they approached. With a shock, Bigwig recognized him. He was from the old warren. They'd been in the Sandalford Guards together. But how much he'd changed.
Bluebell!
I've been calling and calling.
Frith in a fever, what have they done to you?
To me? Wait till you see the Major.
The Major?
That's Major Holly under there.
Kill.
It's all right, Major. We're safe now. They're not here to kill us. You're not, are you?
Oh, don't be silly.
No, you're wrong. Last thing said to them, night they ran away, said I'd kill them. Tell them I'm sorry. We should have listened to them. But we didn't listen. And now, all dead now. All gone. 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 The end of a warren. Sandalford. Finished.
Hush now, Major. Everything's all right. You rest. You get some rest, Major.
So, it did happen. But you, Bluebell, how did you get away?
Simple. I wanted to relieve myself that morning. You know how it is. So I'd gone up top. I'd moved away a bit from the burrows, and then I heard them coming, so I hid. And I watched them. Watched the men, saw what they did. Saw it all.
Bluebell's story did not take long to tell, but it chilled his hearers to the marrow. 2 trucks had pulled up close to the warren, and dogs had jumped out. They ran around in circles, sniffing the ground, excited by the scent of rabbit, while the men were getting ready. They had shovels with them, with which they sealed all the burrows but one, and into this burrow they had shoved a big hose. The other end of the hose had been attached to a large gas bottle. The valve opened, and very soon the poison had gone to work. A few rabbits had managed to scramble out, only to be attacked by the dog. When things had become quiet again, the men had poured themselves cups of tea from a couple of vacuum flasks, smoked cigarettes, and watched the grader move in, as it had ripped into the earth, leaving no trace of the old warren. Just bare, exposed earth.
So that was that. And the old one? Our chief rabbit?
He went with the rest. He must have. The Major and I were the only ones left.
Fiver tried. He tried to warn him, but he laughed at him. We were too young to be listened to, so he laughed.
Of course he laughed. It takes a lot to evacuate an entire warren, and does with kittens can't move fast, so they'd attract 1,000. It's no wonder he wasn't keen to move. But perhaps he was getting old, too, and not fond of changes. Oh, well, it's changed now. It just isn't there anymore.
Anyway, we're starting another warren. A new one. And it's going to be beautiful.
A fresh start?
We found the place. It's not far from here. The Major, can he walk?
Walk? Yes, I can walk, can't I, Bluebell? I'm not dead yet, you know.
But slowly. It'll have to be slowly.
Then we'll all walk slowly. Follow us, Bluebell. It's along here.
At first sign of the sun next morning, they began the journey up the escarpment. The more nimble ones, Speedwell, Acorn, Fiver, and Pipkin, scampered ahead. Then came Buckthorn, Blackberry, Hawkbit, still yawning, with Strawberry, Hazel, and Dandelion. Last, a fair way back, were Captain Bigwig and Sergeant Silver, helping Bluebell with the Major.
Hazel! Hazel! We found something!
Now what's the matter with Fiver?
The young rabbit was bounding back towards them, and the downslope was steep. Head over heels he went. He picked himself up, looking foolish, but managed to smile when he faced them.
We've found something good up among those trees. You wait, Hazel. It's just what we want.
And what have you found?
A warren. And it's empty under those trees.
The burrows, such as they were, had been started by some forgotten tribe of rabbits, but they'd never been completed. The few droppings around the holes were old, dried hard by many suns. There was no way of telling the fate of those original settlers, but there was no smell of death or disease about the holes, and they looked perfectly sound. The thing was, there was nothing to stop these rabbits from taking over what was left. But it would need some repairs.
Dig? You want us to dig?
There's been some falling in. Besides, they're not nearly deep enough. A bigwig, you can see for yourself.
Oh, but I've never heard of such a thing. Does do the digging. Female.
Yes, Captain, but it just so happens we don't have any, do we?
Look, Captain, we're learning new ways. We have to learn new ways if we want to stay alive. All of you, listen to me. Since we left home, we've learned to swim, haven't we?
Except me. You, Pipkin, learned to float on a flat piece of wood. Perhaps that's just as good.
Some of us, for the first time in our lives, have found out that we can fight. We've come a long way in country we've never seen before, that we didn't know existed. We've been without protection, and so we've protected each other. Is that the usual way with rabbits? Is it? When there's danger around, don't rabbits usually think of themselves, only of themselves, and make a dash for it? Well, that's the way it's always been. But we are changing, aren't we? We're changing our way of life, because we've no alternative. We are doing what we have to do. Now let's start digging.
Well, just the same, it's not...
Not what, Captain?
I don't know. Dignified, I suppose.
It was dusk, and the first day's digging had gone well. They sat in the entrance to the main burrow, Hazel, Dandelion, and Strawberry. Not long now, and it would be safe to go out into the grass. Then, one of the 1,000 appeared. It was a kestrel, a small falcon, and it sailed closer, finally hovering above something that fossiced in the grass, something very small. The field mouse flattened when he saw the bird's shadow fall on the earth around him. The kestrel, now certain of its prey, slid sideways, hovered, then closed its wings, its whole body aimed like an arrow at a target. Hazel shot forward, drove the mouse towards the burrow, and the next moment they were safe, both safely inside, leaving the bird outside, a savage bird, all beak and talons beating the ground in its rage. It peered into the burrow. They saw its round black eyes glaring at them. But eventually, it gave up.
Well, it's gone now. Wondering why rabbits can't mind their own business.
What's going on up there?
Oh, nothing much, Captain.
Something is. What's all the commotion?
Hazel just rescued a mouse. A kestrel thought he had it, but...
Rescued a what?
A mouse, Captain. That one.
A mouse? Sweet lovers, what for?
What do you mean, what for? Because I was sorry for it. Because we share the same enemies.
Oh, I don't know. True, I don't. A mouse? Haven't we got enough troubles just looking after ourselves?
Oh, maybe someday this little mouse will do us a good turn.
Measly mouse. Is that likely?
I would if I could. That's true.
Who said that?
Me, I did.
Nice talk.
Mices talk to mices aplenty. Some of them maybe me help you.
Like this one he say. What name is you?
Me? I'm called Hazel.
Hazel. Hazel. Me, I remember that. Now I say thank you. Then I go.
You'll be safe now?
Now, yes. Sooner, though, is owl time. Dark time, she is owl time. Owls is very, very bad for mice.
Oh, owls are bad for rabbits, too. When we're little, that is.
Yes?
Oh, yes, indeed, my friend.
Everywhere, plenty enemies. Howsoever, they not catch us if we pretty damn clever, eh? So we be pretty damn clever all the time, yes? Goodbye.
Goodbye. Keep close to the bushes.
You bet, by Jiminy.
Bye. What? I think he said Jiminy.
What on earth would that be?
Well, perhaps to a mouse it means the same as Frith.
Are you saying they have a god called
Jiminy? All I said was, perhaps they do.
Huh. Not only measly, they're heathens as well.
Just look at us, will you? Our own warren at last. A lovely full moon up there.
And full bellies all round.
But nobody dances. They're not even skipping about.
Me? I never was one for dancing. Didn't hold of it. Oh, now I've grown out of it anyway.
How can you grow out of something you never did?
Dandelion, you trying to be funny again, are you?
Why, no, Captain. I simply
now
said...
stop it, you two.
You're thinking about females, if you ask me.
Probably remembering Sandalford, too.
Only one thing to do. Dandelion, a story.
Another story? Oh, must I?
Oh, tell the story of... Let me see. The one called The Trial of Elaray Ra.
Ah, you know it, Luther.
Backwards.
Oh.
It's one of my favorites.
Oh, that's marvelous.
Gather round, everybody. Closer. Now squat in a circle. It's a story. So quiet, please.
Now, you remember King Darzen's lettuces and how they were delivered to Elaray Ra, the king of the rabbits?
Yes, we do.
Well, Prince Rainbow knew very well that Elaray Ra and Rabscuttle had tricked the lot of them, but he couldn't quite see how it had been done. Anyway, the prince had to abide by his promise, so he allowed Elaray Ra and his followers to move out of the swamps. They built a wonderful warren in some meadows known as Fenlo, and the first thing Elaray Ra and his offsider did was pick out a perfect burrow for themselves. But they were just settling in when two visitors arrived. This was another story of how Elaray Ra got the better of Prince Rainbow's attempt to plant a spy among the rabbits. He approached the new warren that Elaray Ra's people were making and introduced a new rabbit no one had ever seen before, called Hafsar. Hafsar was one of those rabbits who rarely look up from the ground. He seemed most interested in watching how the grass was growing. And yet his ears were always twitching, as Elaray Ra noticed during the next few days, and he became aware that Hafsar wasn't really missing a single thing. He knew exactly what was going on around him. For Hafsar was a spy. He was there to report back to the prince, because while rabbits can keep secrets from other animals, in a warren news and gossip travel very fast. And Elaray Ra knew he was being watched. He gave up stealing from the farmer's garden. He never argued, he avoided having fights, and he was always polite. In short, he never did one wrong thing, and he was slowly going out of his mind. And so the days passed. There was Elaray Ra, tied in a knot with frustration. There was Hafsar, the sly one, ears constantly on the twitch. Then Elaray Ra had an idea.
Rabscuttle, I'm going to the swamp to gather a few slugs.
Slugs? What on earth for?
Shh, I don't want Hafsar to hear. And I want you to steal some corn. Do you think you can manage that?
Easily. But what do you want with slugs and corn?
I'll tell you later.
Hafsar! Hafsar? Where are you, my friend?
Here I am, Elaray Ra.
I can trust you, Hafsar, can't I?
Well, but of course, Elaray Ra. You know you can.
Yes.
Would you like to hear a secret?
Oh, I love secrets. Now, what is it?
I am going to steal Prince Rainbow's carrots.
The prince's carrots?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Can I come with you, Ellerera? Could I watch what you do?
Why not? But I can trust you, can't I?
Oh, yes, of course.
Well, now, this is what we'll do.
But before Hafsa and Ellerera started out on their raiding expedition, Rabscuttle went first to visit Yona the hedgehog and Harwok the pheasant with the slugs and corn he and Ellerera had collected. He showed the hedgehog the slugs and saw him lick his lips and look hungrily at them.
Yona, do you by any chance sing?
What rubbish. Hedgehogs don't sing.
But could you try? Could you try to sing if I gave you these fat, slimy, juicy slugs? Oh. Now, don't they look delicious?
They do indeed. Would I have to sing very much?
No. Just a short song will do. And here's a box for you to stand on. It might help your voice carry.
Next, Rabscuttle went looking for Harwok the pheasant and found him strutting at the edge of a pond. When Rabscuttle let him see the corn, he noticed the same hungry look in the pheasant's eyes, and he had no difficulty in winning the bird's attention.
Harwok, can you swim?
Don't be silly.
But could you try? Could you try to swim if I gave you all of this corn?
Oh, look, well, no doubt a person could try, couldn't he?
But Ellerera and Hafsa were close on Rabscuttle's heels on their way to steal the prince's carrots. And, of course, on their way, they met up with Yona. The hedgehog was standing on his box. He decorated himself with flowers and feathers, had stuck them onto his spikes. He was waving his paws in the air and was singing.
Oh, Sluggamoon, oh, Sluggamoon, oh, grant to thy faithful hedgehog's boon.
Yona, what are you doing?
Just singing, that's all. It attracts the slugs, you know, and sometimes snails as well.
Come on, Hafsa, we mustn't waste time.
Ellerera hurried Hafsa off because he sounded curious, and he was afraid Yona might say too much if he was asked a lot of impertinent questions. So they hurried on to find Harwok splashing about in the water.
Good.
Now, what is he doing?
You, by any chance, speaking of me?
Have you been shot or something?
All I am doing is having a swim. Don't you ever swim when the moon is full?
No, never.
Oh, then you should. It really does wonders for your tail feathers.
Then the two rabbits went on to do what they'd planned. The prince's carrots were easy to steal because there were no guards or patrols of any kind. His Highness apparently thinking no one would be bold enough to so much as dream of stealing from his garden. It was short work, therefore, to take the carrots away and hide them behind a pile of rocks. But once the last carrot was hidden, Hafsa was off to tell Prince Rainbow all about the theft. Ellerera was immediately arrested and dragged into court between two huge black dogs, who would, if the charge were proven, have the honor of executing the sentence and enjoy a filling meal into the bargain. The jury, too, picked from the 1,000 enemies, consisting of 2 badgers, 2 foxes, 2 stoats, an owl, and a cat. This time the prince was confident Ellerera would not escape him.
King of all the rabbits, it would seem your sins have at last caught up with you. Would Hafsa please step forward?
I'm him, Your Highness.
Tell the court what you saw.
Your Highness, I saw the accused drag the carrots one by one out of the earth. I saw him hide them behind some rocks. I was there the whole time, from the moment he left the warren, Your Highness. I saw the crime committed. The evidence seemed conclusive, and the 2 dogs guarding Ellerera began to growl menacingly, while the other animals showed their teeth, talons, and claws, thirsting for revenge for all the tricks that had been played on them in the past.
This is the case against you. Ellerera, what have you to say in your defense?
First, I wondered if I could ask the witness a few questions myself.
It's your right. Go ahead.
Now, you've told the court, Hafsa, that you accompanied me on this alleged raid.
I did. You know very well I did.
Would it surprise you if I suggested that I do not recall you and I going anywhere together, and certainly not last night?
It would surprise me very much indeed.
I see. Well, then perhaps you could refresh my memory. Where did we go? What did we see?
You know what we saw. First, the hedgehog.
A hedgehog?
It was standing on a box.
On a box?
And it had feathers and flowers all over it. Dog rose petals, I think they were. And it was singing.
The hedgehog?
His name was Yona.
Yona was singing? And what, may I ask, was this, Yona singing?
A song.
Of course. Oh, but could we hear that song? Come now. You must recall the song. You appear to be able to remember so much other detail.
Well, must I, Your Highness?
A few bars, perhaps.
Oh, Slugger-moon, oh, Slugger-moon, oh, grant thy...
I think that's quite enough, don't you, Your Highness?
More than enough. May I ask why this hedgehog was singing to the moon?
He said, Your Highness, that it attracted the slugs.
Attracted the slugs? Well, I suppose there's no accounting for what musically would appeal to a slug, is there?
But it's true. He saw it. He saw Harwalk, too.
Harwalk?
The pheasant. He was...
Yes, go on, witness. What was this pheasant doing?
Well,
Your Highness, I don't think members of the jury would have heard that.
The witness must speak clearly.
He was taking a swim.
And why would a pheasant take a swim, may I ask?
He said it was good for his tail feathers. And he did. He did. I saw these things. And what about the carrots? I can show you where the carrots are.
Court was adjourned for a while to make a thorough search of the rocks. But there wasn't one carrot in sight. Rab Scuttle had seen to that. And so Hafsah was disgraced, Ellery Ra freed, and the rabbits lived on the prince's fresh, juicy carrots for some time. The new warren has been established on Watership Down, if warren is really the right word. It's a honeycomb of tunnels, not all are completed as yet, dug among the roots of beech trees near the top of the rise. Here the 14 rabbits, all of them bucks, have taken up residence.
It's not a warren, Dandelion. It'll never be a warren until we...
I know, Hazel. I know a few females now. It would be a home then, wouldn't it? Some does. And their kittens all over the place, getting under our feet.
Youngsters who'll grow up. Who'll be taking our places one of these days.
That's right, Hazel. Because no rabbit lives forever, does he?
He's all be joking.
No, I mean it, Dandelion. Here today and gone tomorrow. That's us.
If we're lucky. More often than not, it's here today and gone today for a rabbit.
Sometimes it's that too. Not nice, is it? I mean, not too nice being a rabbit.
Not nice. Well, it's downright perilous.
But where are they? Well, these females. Where do we find them?
In some other warren, I reckon.
Can you smell another warren?
Eh?
Can you, Hawkbit? Anywhere?
It was hopeless. They knew. They'd tried it before. But they sat erect, noses to the wind. They picked up the scent of cows, of hay, of horses, and kitchen smoke from a farm nearby. But of rabbits, nothing. And yet there had to be another warren in such lovely country. But where? Where should they start to look? How would they know? The answer to that question, as it happened, lay helpless, its wing damaged, not so very far away. It was a fair-sized bird, almost a foot long, mostly grey-coloured, but with white shoulders, a white neck, and a head that was dark brownish to black. It was a seagull, and Bigwig and Silver were the ones who found it.
It's wounded.
Don't get too close, Captain.
There's no blood, though. No. Don't get excited, you stupid bird. Never saw one like this before.
Look, we're rabbits, stranger. Rabbits don't eat birds. Can you talk? You, hurt? You no fly. Keep back.
You come kill. Help us. He is talking. You think me finished. You get bloody great shock. So, keep away from me. You hear?
I told you we're not interested in birds.
You hurt Kiha. And Kiha bloody well hurt you, you see. Understand?
So they ran to fetch Hazel. When he saw the gull, it was stabbing its beak into a clump of grass at its side over and over again. Then it lifted its head. The black and yellow eyes stared into Hazel's face.
It's food you want, isn't it? You're starving, aren't you? Get him some worms.
Worms?
Oh, then I'll get them. You two find some beetles, woodlice, anything. Bigwig, this bird is sick.
Oh, I don't know.
There came a morning when Hawkbit, up on top for the usual reason, caught sight of something quite extraordinary coming across the down. He forgot all about his intentions. He poked his head back inside the burrow and yelled.
Hey! Everybody, come up here! Up here! Got something to show you!
Now, what is it? Always something, so what's it this time?
Just take a look at that!
Hazel and Fiver were crossing the grass in short hops. Behind them was the bird, holding one wing out a little from his body, and he was walking, having a hard time keeping up with the two rabbits. They were making for the warren.
Holy frith, I'd never believe it.
He promised us does. And what do we get? A flaming seagull.
Don't be alarmed. You're only saying hello, aren't you, Kiha?
Oh, well, now let's hear him say goodbye.
Hazel made them build a shelter for Kiha, an affair of twigs, dry grass, just inside one of the spare burrows. Kiha had to be protected from the rain, from hawks and other birds of prey, from danger of any kind. Everybody, even seagulls, had their enemies. Then they built a bed of leaves and moss. Kiha had to be comfortable. Then came the matter of fossicking for food. It must, of course, be brought to him.
Got to eat if you want me to get better, huh?
He likes worms, insects, grasshoppers, spiders.
And slugs, and snails, if they're fresh, that is.
And how often do we have to feed him?
What do you mean, how often? Just all the time, my friend. All the time would be nice.
At first, the rabbits were prepared to go along with Hazel and help the bird, although they grumbled at the unpleasant work involved in finding insects and grubs. But after a time, the grumbles became openly voiced complaints. Complaints which were worrying Dandelion so much, he spoke about it to Hazel one afternoon.
Hazel, we're in for trouble. Real trouble. Mutiny, in fact.
Mutiny?
Well, I'm not surprised.
It's been 3 days now, and they've all had enough. Now tell me, why did you bring that bird here? You must have a reason.
I have. I want Kiha to be grateful. Grateful and friendly. I want to see him fly again. And when he can fly, I want him to go exploring. For us. Well, who better than a bird could tell us where the nearest warren is? Where we'll get ourselves some females.
Ah, so that's it. But will he be grateful?
Oh, that's why I haven't said anything. How can I be sure? He did make me a promise, but when the time comes, when he does take to the air...
He could simply keep on flying? Back to the end of the world?
Yes, to his home. Back to the end of the world.
It wasn't exactly a mutiny, perhaps. But the supply of grubs and other wrigglies did begin to dwindle during the next couple of days. Then, for no reason that Hazel could see, everything suddenly changed. There was an upsurge of enthusiasm. The rabbits began scouring the grasslands, frantically fossicking under logs, turning over stones. Soon there was a beaten path to Kihar's nest at the mouth of the burrow.
Well, I don't understand. What's happened?
Can't you guess, Hazel? Then come with me. Dandelion led the way into the warren, crossed into the tunnel that led up towards the nest. Kihar was receiving Hawkbit and Silver, and for once he seemed happy.
Ah, what is this? A cockroach. Oh, lovely.
And I know where there are some more.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Good for you, cockroaches. Make you strong, Kihar.
Yeah, plenty strong. It take time, though, understand?
Sure. I've only got a spider, but it's a big one. Soon you fly, and then you,
You know, Kihar. Like you said.
Like I said, I find you some mothers. Warren without female mothers, no bloody good, huh? But first, plenty food, then I go look. You tell the other rabbits, yeah? Make me strong, and I find you some mothers, huh? Oh, more cockroaches, you said?
Now, that seagull is nobody's fool.
And he's going to sit there being fed by us for the rest of his life, by the look of it. And how did the wing behave, Kihar?
Oh, good, no troubles. Well, you no want to hear what Kihar finds?
Oh, yes, please. What did you find, Kihar?
Females? You saw some does?
You know where there's a warren?
Well, first, I fly this way, then that way. Nothing. Kihar very sad, very, very sad for rabbits. No mothers, Kihar say. No mothers anywhere. Then he remember. He remember farm has bad cat, but also something else maybe. Because he not sure, but he just think that maybe last time he was there. So, he fly to farm, he look in the barn, and what do Kihar see in that barn?
What?
In a box. Rabbits that live with men. Pet rabbits.
Pet rabbits? What are they?
I've heard of them. They're no good.
No good? What you mean? Very pretty, the female.
They don't know how to run wild. Take them out of their box, and they couldn't even feed themselves.
Oh, but, Captain, surely we could teach them.
They're useless, I tell you. First day, a fox would get them, or a stoat, or a dog. And, Kihar, that's all you found?
Oh, no, not all, Bigwig. I find more also. Out that way is river. For me, a few flaps of the wings. For a rabbit, maybe 2 days walking, huh?
River, and?
On this side of river, I see a warren. A big warren.
A big one?
It's a town of rabbits, yeah. Big place. Plenty mothers running round, plenty.
Then that's what we want. Plenty mothers, huh? Then one of them is for old Hawkbit, I reckon. Oh, when, Hazel Ra? Yes, when do we go?
Wait. There is something Kihar must tell you. There is an iron road.
Up? What?
Iron road. The men, they make them. It is behind the warren. Do not try to cross the iron road. Never. It's bad, dangerous, yeah.
But what is an iron road?
Well, there are many roads, and there are a few iron roads. On the iron roads runs a long, noisy thing. A thing like many boxes, one behind the other. And the thing, it goes choo, 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 choo. Huh? You never see one of those?
Never. I don't think I want to. Sounds more scary than the Black Rabbit of Inlay, I reckon. Now what's the matter, Bigwig? Now what have I said?
There are some things you don't joke about, Hawkbit. And the Black Rabbit is one of them.
Oh, sorry.